Hey everyone, welcome to the Build the Church podcast, where we equip pastors to gain momentum, grow their churches, and go the distance in ministry. I'm your host, Josh Roberie. And if you've been tuning in, you know our first two episodes of this season has been on is AI hijacking modern ministry and mastering AI prompts for ministry. So we've been talking about AI, and it's something I've been really passionate about. I feel like for the last couple of years since I came across it almost exactly 2 years ago, started using ChatGPT for the first time and realized this was an amazing tool that can help churches create content. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be exploring how AI can help you stretch and strengthen your messages, and also just how you can become a ministry that has AI powered ministry content. And again, if you have issues with something being called AI powered or using AI, go back and use the resource that is the first two episodes on this topic, because my philosophy on it is this. It's the same as Jeff Woods in his book, AI Driven Leader, which I can't recommend enough. And that is, you should use AI as a thought partner, but you should be the thought leader. And because you are in control, you can have AI powered tools that can really help you create content quicker, help you create content that's more effective and reaches a broader audience, and you can maintain your authentic voice. So if you're wondering where I land on that philosophy, that's where I am. I would run away from anybody that is encouraging you to use AI as a replacement, as something that's a substitute for you doing the work. It should make your work sharper and it should make you more effective. It shouldn't replace you. Okay. And so here's the thing that I want to help you with today is that as a pastor, I know that you're spending a lot of time writing your messages. You're also spending a lot of time in this modern age wondering, hey, how can I create content online, digital content on social media and otherwise, and that takes up a lot of your time as a pastor. Well, really, with AI, if you learn to use great prompting, you don't have to pay someone else to go out and create your content for you. You can create the content yourself because you've already created it. You've written this amazing message, and with good prompting and with the right strategies, you can use that. That message doesn't have to end on Sunday morning. You can use it for the rest of your week. So in this podcast, that's what we're going to be talking about, how to stretch your message out, but also just in general, how to use AI to create content, even communication in your ministry. So we're going to be talking about how to use social media with it, creating video promos, how to use AI to write blogs, even text messages, email drafts, small group lessons, preparing for meetings, how you can use AI for that, how you can use it to create email blasts, and a lot of other stuff. So if you're interested in using AI to help you create content for your ministry, keep listening because we're going to cover a lot of that today. So first up, and I put this first, I figure it's what you guys would want to know about, is how can I use AI to create social media? And I've used it a lot. I get to use it a lot because I create content for my podcast and my blog and my website, buildthe.church. And so I get to use this aspect of AI a lot and get to have fun with it. And then I get to share it with the pastors that I'm coaching and get to help them do that as well. And a lot of times I will end up writing a lot of social media content for them using AI and these strategies. Whenever you want to make a social media post, a lot of times what I would do is I would go back to your message and take that and put that in ChatGPT, and then, or whatever generative AI prompt service that you want to use. And then I think of it as a few different ways. One is when it comes to your messages, you got kind of like the pre-Sunday coming up. And so maybe you know that you're going to preach on this such and such message. You're going to get a graphic from your team. You're not going to post a screenshot of AI, obviously, and you don't always need to post something of yourself. But the way I think of it is you need a static post, you need a story, and you need a reel. Okay. And a reel being a video that you post. And that's three ways. Anything that you really heavily want to promote, I would utilize those three avenues on Instagram. Now, you don't want to use a reel every Sunday to promote every Sunday. A lot of times you're going to use a reel afterwards. But if you wanted to, here's one way that you could do it. You could take your message and you put it into a large language model, and you say, what I'd like to do is I'd like to post a quick story on my personal Instagram promoting this week's message. Here is the message. Here's the tone I want to communicate in. And here's the time that I have to communicate it. Write something I can share on my story that's conversational. And boom, it pops it out. You put that into a prompting app on your phone, or you memorize it, and then you open your phone and you share your story to your Instagram account. Now, if you want to take a different tone, you say this is going to be coming from the church account. You can share something through the church account and have your team edit it, make it look a little bit more professional when it's coming from the church account. The other thing that you can do is you can say, hey, I'm going to preach on this message this weekend. We're going to use this image to promote it. And you can even describe the image out to it. Here's the message. I want a call to action for people to come to church on Sunday. Help me write the caption for this post, and it'll write that out for you. Then you can take it as a reel, and you can do this before. I think a lot of times you're going to end up using this afterwards, but after you preach your message, you can take your message and put it into a large language model and say, hey, this part of my message, this is kind of what you're telling yourself. Like, I think this part of the message really resonated with people, and I think it would be a good 60-second clip. You put that in the chat GPT and you say, listen, this is the message I preached on Sunday. I'm speaking to my church online through Instagram. Write me a script that I can do, recapping the message, emphasizing this one big idea, and the call to action be whatever it is that week for your church. Hey, we'd love for you to get connected to a small group. Like I said in the message about the power of connection and how God created us to do life together. You can ask it to do that and then say, write the caption for me as well, and then write it out. And then in seconds, you've already done the hard work of writing the message. Now you've used AI the right way. You used it as an assistant to do the busy work so you can continue to be the thought leader. You be the creative chairperson, the creative CEO, and you're delivering the content on Instagram and through social media. And a lot of times, like let's say you're promoting an event coming up. If you're a church planner promoting a startup party, you can take a script. You can watch someone else's startup party or launch party, and you can take the ideas from their script, type that out, put it in ChatGPT, put in your suggestions of what you would do different, the details of your church, and say, hey, write a script for me. And you can tell it, you're a producer that is great at storytelling. Help me in a captivating way invite people to our church's launch party. And it'll even give you angles to shoot from, places to shoot from, backgrounds to consider, lighting to consider. And it'll really make that social media pop for you. And you are staying the creative CEO, which is what I love. Another way that I think pastors can use AI to create content for their ministry is to ask AI to help you to write blogs. So again, you've already done the hard work in writing the message. So now that you have the message, you can say, hey, I'd like to turn this into a blog. And I don't see enough churches utilizing a blog. A blog is a way to increase SEO significantly on your church, to continue to drive your church up on the Google search list that people put in, because you're delivering fresh content on there that's reinforcing that your site is active, and it's bringing those keywords up that people are looking for. So when I write blogs, sometimes I will say, when I'm helping different organizations with their content, I will say, I want this to be an SEO heavy blog, and I want to include these words throughout the blog so that it emphasizes this blog being found for people searching these topics in this area. And then I'll write the blog, and then I'll put it through the process, and I'll say, okay, here's the thing that I want it to deliver on. And so I think the episode I did previously to this one, which was on mastering prompts, AI prompts for ministry, I talked about context and voice. And so, and format. And so in the format section of your prompt, what you want to do when you're creating a blog is you want to help it write a great intro for you. And so a lot of times I think people are really good at writing the meat, but not so much the intro and the outro. And so that's where I give the most instructions for chat, because I'm really good at writing the content, but I need help taking off and landing. And so that's where the two crashes almost happen the most, is takeoff and landing is where most airplanes crash. And so I'll say, help me write an introduction that's a strong hook. I want it to be something that really draws people in, or help me summarize my blog in one sentence so I can put in the introduction. Or I could say, help me build anticipation for this post in the introduction. You can tell it this thing and tell it these things. In the call to action at the end, you can tell it to help me write a good call to action based on what this blog is about. And it'll help you write a polished, publishable blog in minutes that, of course, you're going to put in a feedback loop. And, this will be our third episode on AI. I really think I need to do a fourth one, at least, maybe 5, because I want to talk about the feedback loop, and we'll get more into that later. I use ChatGPT to help me write text messages constantly. When I first realized how powerful this is, it really kind of took over my cell phone, and especially my family. And, Amy would be out in the store, and I will have forgotten to ask her to get something for me. And so I'll put into ChatGPT, hey, I blew it. I didn't put this on the list. My wife's already at the store. I don't want to come across like I'm putting another burden on her for having to grab something that I forgot. Help me write a text message to her. And it will come up with these amazing text messages that I send off to Amy. And she's almost like, oh my gosh, she feels loved and seen by me asking her to pick up something at the store. I tested this out on my daughter one time where a couple of years ago, she was into this certain musician who I won't name. And I said, hey, my daughter really likes this musician. And what I want you to do is I want you to take one of this musician's lyrics and help me craft a text message to her. That will see if she will come down and turn the fan on for me. I just wanted to see if it would work. It's more of a test. I can get up and turn the fan on, but I was just testing it out. And man, I sent that text message off to her, and she came down the stairs, and she was like beaming, happy to turn the fan on for me. And I thought, and then I told her what I did, and she hit me with a pillow. And I thought that was really, really fascinating about how it can help me come across the way I want to come across. And I talk to staff members of churches and talk to church planners who've been on staff, and the text messages leave a lot to be desired when you're communicating with people. And a lot of times it's become a primary way of communicating with staff and people on our team. And people just, they take it different ways that we don't even mean it to be communicated when we use text message. What I do is take what I want to say, I put it in the ChatGPT. It takes seconds. I say, write this clearly, concisely, help me say this in the most friendly way possible, especially if it's something that I don't want to communicate. And I send it off, and it does it in a miraculous way. Now, Amy now gets suspicious. She's like, hey, was that chat? Am I talking to ChatGPT or Josh? I'm like, whoever you want it to be, girl, whoever you want it to be. But a lot of times what I'll do is if I'm texting multiple people, I will put it in there. And if I have like a template I'm using, I'll help it rephrase it for the next person, so it's more individual to them. And again, it's like anytime you're texting something that's tough, put it in ChatGPT first. It'll help you come across more friendly, especially people like me who are direct, a little bit more on the blunt side. It's been a miracle worker. Email drafts. We're all using email. And I tell you what, I don't like getting a one sentence email from somebody. It just doesn't sound friendly. You don't feel valued. I can now use chat, and I'm guilty of sending those emails. I can now put my one sentence email into ChatGPT and say, hey, help me add some warmth, a pastoral tone to this email that's encouraging and professional and gets my main point across. Or maybe I'm having a hard time being concise. If you ever get that long email that just kind of keeps growing on you, that's always a bad sign, right? You normally need to delete those. Now you can put in ChatGPT, say, summarize this in a few sentences. They're not going to read all this, and it'll help you out. I use it for small group lessons constantly. I don't use it every week, but most weeks that I teach my small group, I run it through ChatGPT. And you can now, with your messages, you can create a message-based small group lesson for your church even before Sunday comes. When you finish with your message, take it, say, create a small group lesson. I want it to have these announcements in it. I want it to have prompts for open-ended discussion. I want it to have at least 3 questions, no more than 5. I want a leader tip to facilitate the group to keep the conversation going if it stalls on these questions. So something that the small group leader can use to keep the conversation going. And I want you to bring in something that maybe I wasn't able to include in the message, and you can tell to do that, and it'll write that out. Of course, you put it in a feedback loop, and a feedback loop is where you take it out of virtual reality, bring it into reality, you personalize it, you put it back in with new instructions to refine it, then it comes back out to you, and then you refine it once again, and then you send it off into the real world. I use it to prepare for meetings. You can use it to walk through the meeting for you, help you prepare, type out bullet points of what you want to get across. I will put my notes into it and say, hey, help me put this in a summary for the team. Create an agenda based on this. And so you can use it to prepare for your meetings before you go into it. And there's another little tool that maybe I'm going to talk about on another episode about actually getting it to actually dialoguing with it, like literally talking out loud. If you're uncomfortable doing that, you can type through it where it's dialoguing and helping you prepare for meetings so you can present the best way possible to make your meetings more effective. Another thing, if you're already creating the message, you're already creating a small group lesson, you can take that and say, hey, make this a 2-paragraph email blast that's 75 to 100 words that I can send out to my church each week. Again, email marketing, every business is hungry for your email because they know you're checking your email, and that's another way that they can engage with you in between shopping experiences. Churches should be using email marketing, and I just don't understand why more people aren't using it, because it's you're continuing to stay connected and update people with what's happening at the church. The problem is you probably don't have time to do it. AI will write this for you. You can put your announcements into it and say, hey, help me build this out into an email. You can put a sermon clip, but just be words. You can say from the pastor's desk, and you can have it in there. So you could say, summarize this Sunday's sermon on God's peace in 75 to 100 words. Begin with a 1-sentence hook. Include 2 takeaways. Close with a call to action. And sign up for our online prayer group. It'll produce that for you. There's lots of different things you can do. I use it to create slides for my messages. So if I'm writing a message, I would say create slides from this message, and then I'll take that and decide which of those I want to use and don't want to use. The carousel post on Instagram, I forgot to mention that earlier. You can take it and say, hey, I want you to write a carousel post where you take this message or this blog and you break it down into 5 slides with 5 main points, and it will write that out for you. So there's a lot of different ways you can use it. There's some other content things I hope to get to in the future. I'm having a lot of fun talking about AI on the podcast. I originally recorded some other content for you guys on marketing and branding. I've just talked about that till I feel like it's come out of my ears and in my eyes and not just my mouth when it comes to marketing and branding. So we will be talking about some other areas in ministry on this podcast. The goal here is to keep this about 20-25 minutes, and for each episode to be practical. When I did the Believe Again podcast, I really liked that podcast and had a great time doing it because we got to talk about inspiration, emotional health. We also did some practical things. But this podcast, every time you log in or listen in on this show, what I want to promise you is this: you're going to get something super practical. You're going to get a teaching. You're going to hear examples. You're going to get something that you can go back to use immediately to build your church. That's why it's the Build the Church podcast. We're going to have guests, have people committed to come on and share with you guys. I can't wait to share them with you, but I'm starting out with me teaching because I'm setting a new tone for this. I want this to be a place that is a resource for you, that you can go and you can share this with people on your team. When you think of someone that has a question in this area, you can send them an episode and they can learn from it. And so hopefully this has been helpful for you. And when it comes to prompting, I guess I would just end by saying this: if the response isn't helpful, refine your question. You can get great content from generative AI, and if you're not, you probably need to go back and look at the prompt. You missed a connection somewhere, and you probably made an assumption. And so anyway, that's what we have for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out buildthe.church for more resources. And if you found this helpful, please leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram at buildthe.church. I can't wait for you to join us next time. Until then, keep believing and leading strong.